here, and because it is Reading Time with the Queens, sing the Reading Time with the Queens a theme song. Does that sound okay?
Can we participate as well?
Yeah, if you know it, sing along.
Awesome. All right, let's
Here
go.
we go. Take a stand, make a scene. It's Reading Time with the Queens. Did somebody mention art? I know you've been hoping for Reading Time with the Queens. The library's open for Reading Time with the Queens. There's lots to know about the world today, so open a book, let's make our way. There's crafts to be making at Reading Time with the Queens. There's songs to be singing at Reading Time with the Queens. Today we'll learn that we each are a star. We'll spread kindness wherever we are. It's so much fun, but it's not a dream. It's Reading Time with the Queens. Here.
Bravo, bravo.
This is my art song. Ready? Art, shake-a-cat, boom. Oh, shake-a-cat, art. Did somebody mention art? Yes, I mentioned art. Drawing, painting from your heart. Napoleon Bonaparte. Art. That's it, okay.
Okay.
Did somebody mention art?
You did.
I mentioned art.
I also mentioned art.
Why did we mention art?
Because that's today's theme.
Today's theme is art.
I know. It's crazy. Words.
We did an art craft corner, didn't we?
Yes, we did indeed. We played with colors.
That was really fun.
Yes.
And we're gonna probably learn some art science.
That makes sense. That's the next thing that we normally do is we learn science. So, do you want to do science?
Yes, I would love to learn
Do you want to
science.
do science?
Do you want to learn science?
You are so excited for science. Okay. So we're going to start off by what we always do. We're going to bring on our first guest, Mr. Zay.
Mr. Zay.
Mr. Zay.
Hardly can be called a guest. He's
Always a
always
guest.
here.
You're a guest. I'm a guest.
Where do you want to sit?
No, well, I can do the science with you. Yeah, let's do science together.
Yeah, there we go. The more the merrier, right?
Yeah, and we
Okay.
can all learn how to sign American sign language together. It's a great
Yes.
idea.
Okay, so we normally do a few things. One, we're going to learn some signs, and I'm going to sign along as well.
But I have a big question for you.
Yes, no, maybe.
Do you remember the signs from previous reading times? Do you remember any of the signs you've learned?
Yes.
Do you remember why?
Lab.
Yes,
Wow,
yes,
good for
yes.
you. That was from last month. I'm happy you remember that.
Hi. Go ahead and come and take a seat. And any others?
There's 4 signs that I'm going to teach you today. And it goes with our theme, obviously, of art. So I'm going to show you the sign for that. Put up your hand, okay? Palm out, and then draw with your pinky finger on your palm like paper. There's so many forms of art, we can't really encompass them all. But the general sign will work. Art.
Can you do it with your pointer finger instead of your pinky?
To me, it looks weird.
Okay, so pinky, okay, art. Okay.
This is an eye.
Yeah.
And that's a handshake.
Okay.
The next one, what do you call a person who does art?
Artist.
Exactly. So I'm going to show you the sign of that. Remember, we just talked about art, and then you add person.
Artist.
Indication of a person.
Okay.
Artist
So, artist.
is one who arts. Artist. Next sign, paint. That's a very common thing to know in conjunction with art. So, there are a lot of different ways of signing paint because there's not one way to indicate. So again, you have paper or a fence or a wall or something, and you use a brush to rub the paint on. But you can have a smaller size brush with 2 fingers, or you can make it big and huge with your whole arm.
So,
That's painting a wall.
yeah, I was gonna say, like that big wall.
Paint your house walls.
Yeah.
Same concept.
Cool.
Finally, the last word we're going to work on today is from the book that we're reading. Blue. The color blue. So you make a V handshake and you brush it back and forth. That's my favorite color, by the way.
It reminds me of like royalty and the wave. That's just how I kind of associate that.
Okay, I'll give it to you. So let's review some of these signs again.
All right, everybody do it with us.
Ready? Art. Art. Artist. Artist. Paint. Paint. Whatever kind of paint. And blue. The color blue. So if you hear those words in the book while you're reading the story, sign along. Feel free.
Awesome. Thank you, Mr. Zay. We appreciate it.
I really enjoy this. Have fun with your books.
Thank you, Mr. Zay. Thank you. We applaud without clapping. We just shake our hands, applause. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, and you're going to join us.
I'm going to join you.
Awesome, wonderful. All right, so keep an ear out for the words. We're going to sign along with them. We're both going to help with that. So we'll see how this goes. We have a special guest with us today. She's going to read our first book, and that is Miss Ellie. So we want to know what the book is and all about your life. But let's start with the book.
The book. So we're going to be reading Masterpiece, and it's by Alexander Hoffman, and it's illustrated by Beatrice Mello.
Ooh, okay, all right.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
I'm good too. It's quite a lovely story. I'm excited to read it for you guys.
Awesome, all right. Well, let's dive into it.
All right.
So listen for those words. Art, artist, blue, paint.
All right. Masterpiece by Alexander Hoffman. Samuel loved blue. He loved it so much that he made his world blue. The walls in his room were blue, and his stuffed animals were too. His backpack was blue. His clothes were too. Blue shirts, blue pants, blue socks, and even blue shoes. Everything's better in blue, he thought. One day at school, Samuel's teacher told the class, "It's time to draw a picture of you and your family playing outside. Make sure to add lots of color." Samuel put his headphones on and got to work. His classmates drew green grass, white clouds, red slides, yellow suns, purple skipping ropes, and pink running shoes.
That's a lot of colors.
But not Samuel. His drawing was filled with every shade of blue. Sky blue, ocean blue, midnight blue, sapphire blue, turquoise blue, teal blue, and indigo blue were all there. Everything's better in blue, he thought. It's time for everyone to share what they drew. Who wants to go first? Miss Anderson asked the class. Gabby's hand shot up. This is a picture of me and my family at the playground. We went there yesterday. I love when my dad pushes me on the swings. Lovely, Miss Anderson remarked. It looks like you swing as high as the clouds. Marcus went next. This is a picture of me racing my brother down the hill in our backyard. We always run fast, he said. Superb, Miss Anderson announced. It looks like you run as fast as a cheetah.
That's really fast.
Next was Jasmine. This is my sister and me skipping in our front yard. We like learning new tricks. Marvelous, Miss Anderson exclaimed. It looks like you skip as quick as a kangaroo. One by one, all of the students shared their drawings with the class. When Miss Anderson called on Samuel, he didn't even notice. He was busy putting the finishing touches on his art. Everything's better in blue, he thought. Miss Anderson walked over to Samuel's table. She leaned down and quietly spoke. Would you like to share your drawing with the class? Samuel didn't look up. Instead, he excitedly flapped his hands. Even though Samuel hadn't said a word, Miss Anderson knew his creation was ready. Not looking away from his drawing, Samuel proudly held his artwork up for all to see. It's wonderful! What a masterpiece! Miss Anderson exclaimed. A masterpiece? Sophia blurted out. It's just blue. Drawings shouldn't be one color. But don't you see? There is lots of color, Miss Anderson replied. Samuel used every shade of blue. He's created a whole world with it. Some of us use all the colors, and some of us use shades of only one. Even though our art may be different, each is just as special. Miss Anderson picked up Samuel's drawing and tacked it up on an empty bulletin board, proudly displaying it for all to see. The shades of blue shone brightly. Samuel's smile shone brighter. And everyone marveled at the masterpiece in front of them.
Ooh.
The end.
Awesome. Thank you. So, which was the masterpiece? The picture or the person?
The person.
Wow, the person. Ooh, both. Okay.
I mean, both, of course, but everybody is different, right? Everybody has their own style, right? And it's important to remember that just because you're one way doesn't mean everybody else is, and that's actually quite a beautiful thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Well, thank you so much for reading that.
Thank you for having me.
All right, one more big round of applause for Miss Ellie. Thank you.
Okay, hi everybody. Welcome back to Craft Corner. This month we are having a theme called art.
Ooh, did someone mention art?
That's right. That was the official title, wasn't it?
Yeah.
All right. And look, we're doing something fun. Again, something we've never done before.
Yeah.
Watercolor.
I can show this one.
This piece is called Keith Haring Watercolor. You may not know who Keith Haring is, but thankfully our friend Mix Kai does. And so while they're creating their art on this blank sheet, we will hear all about Keith Haring.
Yeah, absolutely.
So very simple supplies. This is a piece of watercolor paper that we've printed on the design. By the way, Mix Kai is the artist who drew these.
I did. It is very, very heavily based on Keith Haring's art. I'll show this camera as well. You can see all kinds of fun squiggles and designs, and this particular baby character is actually called the Radiant Baby from Keith Haring's actual art. So, yeah.
Cool. I think they're very, very interesting and
Yes.
wonderful and fun. Very
Yeah,
fun.
so fun. It was so fun to recreate some Keith Haring art that I quite enjoyed.
Mm-hmm. Quite the artist, by the way.
Yeah, I create all the time.
All right, then we just need a palette of watercolors and, your basic watercolor brush.
Very simple colors. Looks like every color of the rainbow and some.
And then we just have a bowl of water, because you can't watercolor without water.
Yes, that's very important.
Okay, let's get started. Do you prefer blue or purple?
Ooh, I quite like blue, and I also know you like purple. So.
Well, I'm not going to be painting today, though.
I'm only painting. Okay.
It's all on you.
Oh boy. Okay. Oh my goodness.
All right. Something we learned during the craft time at the program today was that the paints come and they're very dry.
Yes.
So you want to add a lot of water. Mix them up good with some water before you start painting away.
Yes, watercolor paint is activated with water, so you want to make sure that you keep your brush very, very wet with water so that it can continue to activate the paint and you can get more paint on your brush.
Very cool, and this one actually has purple.
Yeah, the paint palettes that we had at the program didn't have any purple, and so kids were like making like purple by mixing red and blue together, and they were so excited as well of like, oh, I did it.
Yep. Did you all know that you can mix colors to get different colors, like red and blue make the purple?
Yeah.
And what is it? Red and green make
Red and green makes like a weird brown color.
That's right.
Yeah.
The blue and green.
Blue and green makes a nice like turquoise.
Oh,
I'm a big fan of green. Green's my favorite color. Your favorite color is purple, right, Miss Barb?
It is.
It's an incredible color. Green and purple are actually opposites, which is kind of fun.
I'm going to show them what we've got so far going on here.
Absolutely. I'm going to mix up some more green.
There you are.
Yeah.
Nice colors are really nice and bold.
Yeah. I honestly love working with watercolors. It can be so fun and freeing. And actually, one of the books that we read today was Drawing on Walls by Matthew Burgess, something like that. And that's the book that talks about Keith Haring, and a lot of the things that are mentioned in that particular book is like mixing all kinds of fun colors and following where your line leads and super fun stuff like that. So.
Yeah, I'm kind of noticing how you're holding the brush. It's you don't really hold it tight like a marker. It's really just kind of loose in your hand, and you're just kind of lightly.
Yeah.
You're keeping in the lines, but even if you didn't keep in the lines, it kind of just bleeds out on the special type of paper. It's called watercolor paper.
Yes. This particular paper is specifically for watercolors. Or even there's a particular tool called watercolor pencils, where it's like colored pencils, but you can like apply water with a brush like this, and then it looks just like watercolors. So it's a little bit more, depending on how you use the water and the actual brush, it can be a little bit more clean and like staying within the lines and stuff like that.
So Keith Haring, he had a particular style. Did they all kind of contain all of these squiggle wiggles and?
Most of them did, yes, but there are a lot of them that had specific characters, and Keith Haring really liked to draw characters that were dancing and having a good time. And Miss Callie's dress actually has a lot of those like squiggles and like dancing characters as well.
Yep. Well, you guys, we need to have our Miss Callie come in. She and Kai created this dress. And
Did I hear my name?
I'll have
Oh my goodness, Miss Callie.
Yeah. Oh, you guys are making crafts in Craft Corner.
Yeah.
Yes. Do you recognize the art style?
Oh yeah. This is Keith Haring's art style.
It is.
Did you draw this?
I did.
That's
It is
pretty cool.
One of my favorite things that I have made, I think, especially in relation to reading time.
And now you're painting it together with
and
watercolors. That's cool.
Yeah.
Look how you're mixing things up and.
Mixing and blending.
Oh yeah, I love how you have the green base. Sorry, hello. I like how you have the green base and then you're taking some blue and mixing the colors that way.
Yeah.
We're learning how to design blue.
So anyway, everyone please notice.
Oh yes.
Yeah, look at this beautiful dress.
Yes.
I got distracted talking about my art, but look at this art.
Yeah, this dress is inspired by Keith Haring. I did all these little squiggles, kind of like on this piece of paper here. A lot of squiggles everywhere.
How did you make the squiggles?
I used crayon.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you have crayons at home, you can make squiggles with crayons.
It was just
maybe not on your dress.
It was just a big piece of white cloth fabric material, And did you do the drawing before you?
No,
Sewed
I
the dress?
sewed it all together and then we did the drawings
art.
on it.
Mhm.
And I actually, Mix Guy, you did help me with this, and specifically,
did.
you did all these dancing guys. Do you see the dancing
Yeah.
guys?
Look at this particular one is like breakdancing. That's so fun, isn't it?
And I love the cuffs. Show the.
Oh
Oh,
yeah, I
yeah.
did little guys in the cuffs too. Pretty nice, pretty nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was inspired by our 2 books today, which the first one was all about a kid who likes to use blue, and obviously Keith Haring. So
Yeah.
yeah, thanks for letting me show it off.
Another original, amazing creation from our Miriam
Yeah.
Miss Kelly.
Yeah.
Sewing. Did someone mention sewing? Art?
Is that art?
Art,
This is
sewing?
it's a type of art.
Yeah.
All right, I'll let you get back to this, and I can't wait to see how it turns out. And obviously, we'll be displaying it and sharing it with everybody on the Craft Corner wall after.
Yeah, absolutely. There's going to be all kinds of extra, like,
Yeah,
bright
there's-
colors.
If you've ever noticed, there's like a couple of years worth of projects up here.
Yeah.
These are all art too,
They are art.
made with fabric and paint or
Paper.
paper. A lot of paper. Oh, pipe cleaners is pretty cool. Feathers.
Yeah.
Pretty nice. Oh, here's one we did with marker and water.
Ooh, yeah.
Kind of like watercolor.
Also,
a
It's
little
very
bit.
similar to
filter.
watercolor,
Yes,
yeah.
the coffee
Yeah,
filter.
to
Mhm.
the Mr. Aaron color.
And Mr. Aaron's famous,
Also blue and
famous
green.
shirt.
Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely.
What are you gonna do? Oh, you've already mixed blue and red to make purple.
We actually have a purple on this
Oh,
one. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
Oh, so you
yeah.
don't have to mix any colors, but do you know how to make orange if you needed to?
Orange. That one, you
It's
mix
not red
red
and
and yellow.
yellow.
Yeah.
That's red and yellow. And then do you know how to make green if you need to?
Green is blue and yellow. So it's mixing different kinds of colors to make different kinds of colors. and
Excellent.
it's-
What happens if you mix all the colors together?
If you mix all the colors together, it's probably going to be close to like a black or like a brown.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
that's pretty cool.
Which is a color, but I
It
like
is.
these bright ones better.
Yeah, the bright colors are very, very fun. and
Black can
exciting.
be a really amazing color to make art with, obviously, because all the lines are.
Yeah,
black.
yeah. Black is a very useful color, and it's very, very much useful in this particular instance as well, where you can see the black outlines.
Okay, well, I've talked too much. I'll see y'all later.
Thank you so much for joining us, Miss Callie.
Of course.
Well, that's coming right along.
I know.
Looks like when you use a little bit extra water, it kind of spreads the color out a
Yeah,
little bit.
yeah. There's a particular technique when it comes to using specifically watercolors, where if you have just water on your brush and you lay it down
Oh, before you put
before you
paint
put the paint on, yeah, then you can do this very cool effect that I'll show you in just a moment as soon as I get enough water down. I do blue, since that was one of the colors that we learned for science.
on. Yep, blue. Mhm.
And you get a little bit of paint and you
Oh,
tap it on.
look at that.
Yeah, isn't that cool?
Do you think you can do that while we hold that up?
Yeah, absolutely. Let me see if I can get a little bit more water on here and show everyone.
It just kind of
Get a little bit of blue.
just grabs the paint and
Just touch it on where there's water already.
I did never know about that technique.
Yeah.
That's really nice.
Yeah, isn't it cool? It looks very neat. And even like, I love watercolor. I just love art. I just love art so much. And especially like the different things you can do with it. Watercolor, like I said, is one of my favorite mediums to work with, and I don't work with it very often. So this whole craft has been extremely fun to work with and work on.
We've been very lucky to have you with us lately because you're very talented.
Oh, thank you so much.
Very artistic.
Oh yeah, I have been drawing for a very, very long time, so it has been very, very cool to show everyone my art. That was another thing that we talked about in various reading time programs, is how important it is to share your art with everyone if you can, or if you want. Sometimes some art is very personal and you can keep it to yourself, but it's very, very fun to show it off when you can.
Miss Kai, this is looking wonderful.
Oh, thank you so much. I love art so much, and it is genuinely such a joy to create, and especially create for everyone. I very much love every kind of art. It's just so fun.
How do you know when you're done?
That's a good question. I'm trying to decide myself. I think I'm gonna add a teeny tiny bit more blue, and then I think we're gonna be good. Keep that solid actually, because that would be fun. Some polka dots. All right.
Excellent.
I think that's
Excellent.
pretty much it.
Perfect.
Alrighty.
Look, we were from this to that in like about 7, 8, 9 minutes.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
This is the final Mix Kai art.
Yeah, so there is a link in our website to print out a couple of templates of this. We have
Yes.
that one reading, and then we have the dancing one as well.
Yeah.
So if you would like to try this yourself, you want to just get some, I mean, you could do it. Can't you just do it on regular copy paper?
Yeah, you can absolutely do it on regular copy paper. It might, because if it's not specifically watercolor paper, it might get a little bit more wavy. You can kind of see on this one, it's a teeny tiny bit of, there's a little bit of wave to it.
Oh, when it gets wet, you mean?
Yes. With copy paper, it might be a little bit more wavy. And also just be a little bit careful. That one, it might kind of tear if you're a little bit rough with it, especially after you get it wet.
Okay.
This one is a little bit sturdier.
Yep. So you just want to let it dry nicely before you start messing around with it. So anyway, we hope that you enjoyed this. We hope that you will try watercolor yourself. If you do create your own masterpieces, be sure to send them to us. We have our website, readingtimewiththequeens.com, which would give us an email address.
Have an adult help you. That would be, that's definitely important. And they might know a little bit more about how
Yes.
emails work as well. So that will be helpful too.
Perfect. Wonderful. Well, thanks.
Yeah, thank you. This was so fun to create all of this fun art with you today, Barb.
Love it. Okay. Goodbye for today. We'll see you next month. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Mix Kai, everyone, is going to join us today. Can we say hello to Mix Kai?
Hello, everyone.
Okay, first of all, I have to ask, did you make the apron?
I did not make the apron, but honestly, this is very similar to what I would have made.
Okay, all right, very nice.
But you made your.
I did make the tie.
Okay,
I colored it.
I'm sensing a theme. Tie-dye, tie-dye, tie-dye.
Yeah, absolutely.
You made, yeah,
I
awesome.
painted on my clothes as well.
Okay, there we go. Awesome.
I am an artist.
Yes, all right.
So I have this book today. It is Drawing on Walls. It is a story of Keith Haring, the same artist that Miss Callie's dress is inspired by.
Should we be drawing on walls?
Well, ask your parents.
We'll find out.
We'll find out.
Okay, all right.
Keith Haring did paint on walls, but that was because he was allowed to and asked to.
Yeah, okay, all right.
So this particular story is written by Matthew Burgess, and pictures are by Josh Cochran. Just open it up real fast. You can see this cover page. All these little guys on the very top. Here is Keith Haring painting a mural with hundreds of children in Tama City, Japan. Keith draws the outlines, and the kids fill them in with their own designs.
That's kind of like art and craft.
That's exactly like the craft we have.
Oh my gosh.
When Keith was a kid, he and his dad often drew together. They took turns making lines and watched as a balloon became an ice cream cone or a dog transformed into a fire-breathing dragon. Sometimes they even drew with their eyes closed. Keith drew all the time, everywhere, but not on the walls, his mother would call, just as he was getting some big ideas. Keith was the oldest in his family, and gradually, as he grew, 3 sisters arrived. First Kay, then Karen, and finally, when Keith was 12, Kristen was born. They lived in Kutztown, a small town in Pennsylvania. Keith loved being a big brother. In the summertime, he organized games and carnival contests in the backyard, and he would invite the entire neighborhood. He also formed clubs with secret passwords and made little houses where friends would play. That looks like such a fun fort. That's kind of the stuff that I would make when I was a kid. When Kristen was old enough to hold a crayon, Keith invented a game like one his dad had taught him. Each would draw on a sheet of paper, and then when someone shouted, "Stop!" They'd swap sheets and continue drawing. Keith also painted Kristen's hands and pressed them on paper to make prints. Look, a mobile. Keith's best friend Kermit loved making things too. At school, they were known as the artists.
Ooh, artist.
Yeah, it is. Eager to have a studio all on their own, they cleared some space in Kermit's aunt's garage. And Keith loved drawing anything with a twisting, turning line. You can see it, stone, that travels through and around, up and down, in and out again.
Wow.
When Keith was 16, he began to feel restless in Kutztown. That summer, he caught a bus to Ocean City, New Jersey, where he lived a block from the beach with kids from Pittsburgh and New York City. Keith washed dishes to pay his way, and in his free time, he drew. Sometimes he would stay up all night and watch the sunrise. After high school, Keith moved to Pittsburgh to study commercial art, but it wasn't a good fit. He wanted to be spontaneous and free. He followed his line to see where it would lead. On a trip home for Christmas, Keith stumbled upon The Art Spirit by Robert Henry. After a few sentences, he felt as if the book was speaking directly to him, like a friend. Do whatever you do intensely. The artist leaves the crowd and goes pioneering. So Keith left school, took several jobs, and saved enough money to hitchhike across the country. He was searching for his next big step, and he took the art spirit with him. When Keith returned to Pittsburgh, he spent hours in the library reading about artists he admired. He also saw an exhibition of enormous paintings by Pierre Alechinsky. Keith was blown away. Inspired, Keith now knew what he had to do to find the intensity and freedom that he desired. Looks like he's
I love all the colors.
I do too. Aren't they so fun?
Yeah, they're colorful too.
Yeah. Keith arrived in New York City and enrolled at the School of Visual Arts. He was 20 years old. One day, he found rolls of paper that someone had tossed into the gutter. He unrolled them in the studio at school and began making bigger and bigger paintings. Keith especially liked painting on the floor by the open door where the sunlight poured in. People passing on the street would stop to watch or talk with him about what he was making. Keith loved it. He didn't believe that some people understood art while others don't, or that art should be hidden away in galleries, museums, and private collections. Keith wanted to communicate with as many people as possible. The public has a right to art. Art is for everybody. The East Village was Keith's new neighborhood. With his friends, he formed in Club 57, a local hangout in the basement of a church on St. Mark's Place. A few years later, when Keith was 23, he fell in love with a DJ named Juan Dubose. Keith listened to Juan's music while he drew, and Juan cooked big meals in their tiny kitchen. Together, they were happy. Keith wasn't earning money from his paintings yet, so he worked as a bicycle messenger, a sandwich maker on 7th Avenue, a bartender at the Mud Club, and an art assistant at the Soho Gallery. He even got a job picking wildflowers in New Jersey. But his favorite job ever was drawing with children at a daycare center in Brooklyn. There is nothing that makes me happier than making a child smile. With his artist friend Fab Five Freddy, it's very much a
Say
tongue
that
twister
5
name.
times fast. Oh.
I don't know that I can. I can barely say it once. Keith walked through Alphabet City admiring all of the graffiti. He loved the colors, the size, the fluid lines, and the blossoming of art on the streets where people could see and enjoy it. One night, when strolling down King Street in West Village, Keith heard the thump and beat of music and discovered Paradise Garage. He was mesmerized by the dancers spinning on their heads and doing the electric boogie as disco and hip-hop rocked the room. For Keith, drawing and painting were like dancing. He called it mind-to-hand flow. One day in the subway, Keith noticed blank panels where advertisements used to be. Suddenly, he zipped up to the street, bought a box of white chalk, and dashed back downstairs and began drawing on the walls. People paused as they rushed from here to there. For Keith, this is what art is all about, the moment when people see it and respond. Maybe it makes them smile, maybe it makes them think, maybe it inspires them to draw or dance or write or sing.
Or make a dress.
Or make a dress. When Keith was 24, he was offered a major one-man show at the Tony Shafrazi Gallery in Soho. The opening was packed with artists, musicians, celebrities, and friends, and Keith's family came all the way from Kutztown to celebrate. Keith's life as an artist was taking off. But no matter how busy he became, or where in the world he went, he always made time for children. Keith understood kids, and they understood him. There was an unspoken bond between them. And since children often asked him to draw on their t-shirts, skateboards, and jeans, he always kept a black marker handy. Kind of like, oh, if I can get it, the black marker. Oh, well, that I keep handy. Thank you so much.
Do you want me to hold on to that?
Sure.
So somebody doesn't drop it.
Yeah, so somebody doesn't drop it.
Or steal it.
That's true as well, that's important. The kid from Kutztown who had longed to draw on the walls was now receiving invitations to paint murals all over the world. He was invited to West Germany to paint a stretch of the Berlin Wall, which had been built to divide people, even family and friends, and keep them apart. He believed in the unity of all human beings, so he painted a long chain of interconnected figures. He also painted a wall with 500 high school students in Chicago, Illinois. It was his longest mural ever at 488 feet, and it took 5 days to complete. That's a long time. To honor him, then Mayor Daley declared it Keith Haring. After watching Keith work, a kid came up to him and said, "I can tell by the way you paint that you really love life." And Keith did love life, every single day, no matter what difficulties came his way. Even when he learned that he had a serious illness called AIDS, Keith didn't stop making art and sharing his gifts with the world. He was overwhelmed by sadness at first, but then he decided that he would live each day fully as if it were his last. I appreciate everything that has happened, especially the gift of life I was given that has created a silent bond between me and children. Children can sense this thing in me. One morning, while listening to musicians on a New York City street, Keith was recognized in a crowd by a father and son from Italy. Keith invited them to his studio. In return, they invited him to paint a mural and have an exhibition. In June 1989, Keith arrived in Pisa to paint a wall on the church of Sant'Antonio. The friars who lived there welcomed him to dinner inside their monastery. That's a big deal. As word spread, people came from all over Europe to meet Keith and watch him work. A massive crowd waited for Keith to make his final mark, and when he did, everyone burst into wild cheering and applause. The city threw a huge party with music and dancing in the streets. Kids, grandparents, soldiers, friars, everyone celebrated Keith's masterpiece. Without question, he said, Pisa is one of the highlights of my entire career. From the time he was 4 years old, drawing with his dad at the kitchen table, until the day he died at 31, Keith remained spontaneous and free, following his line wherever it would go. And though his life ended too soon, Keith's line is still with us, and it goes on forever. Look at him drawing with his dad.
Off the paper too.
Off the paper,
table.
yeah. He's going while he's following his line,
There you
wherever
go.
it leads.
Okay, cool.
But that is the story.
Wow, what a great book.
It is a fantastic book. I really relate to a lot of Keith Haring's work because I am an artist as well. And I love colors, and I love just seeing where my art will take me in whatever way that looks like.
So do you think we should be drawing on walls?
If you're making a big mural and you're
With
being
permission,
asked to
yeah.
do it, then
Yeah.
yes.
I like this. Yes,
Yes.
permission. I like this. I think what I take from this is drawing on walls is that art should be shared. So it should
Yes.
be something that you want to share with other people instead of keeping it to yourself.
Absolutely.
So drawing on walls is just kind of the idea of that is everyone should be able to see it and share and enjoy.
Yes, absolutely, I agree.
Yeah, cool. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate you reading that.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you all so much for having me.
Yes.
Remind me, and if I'm wrong, correct me. Did you help paint the box behind you?
Yes, as a matter of fact.
I did help paint this.
Yes! Mix Kai painted this whole thing.
Yeah.
That's not true. Miss Kelly helped very
A
briefly.
little bit.
That's great. Yeah, we can see some of the people on it. We can recognize them. Got some umbrellas. It's great. When you have a minute, take a look at this. It is wonderful. It's
On all
another.
sides as
seen it
well.
already.
Yeah, cool. Awesome. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We are going to bring on Miss Callie and Ensemble.
Yes! In fact, Mr. Zay, would you come and share a song? And in the spirit of working on art together, I'm gonna perform this song with Mr. Zay!
Yay!
I'm gonna sing and play the song, and Mr. Zay is gonna sign it. Alright? Here we go. Find your favorite paintbrush, come and join me. It's time to have some fun and use our creativity. We can use as many different colors as we need. With love and inspiration, we can make a masterpiece. So let's paint together. Let's take a spark and make some art. You know the sign for art? Let's create together. Everyone will have so much fun. Every artist is different. It's good to be unique. We can paint a new idea. Even if it's crazy, and it can take some time, but have fun and be free. Each tiny stroke adds up to something amazing. So let's paint together. Let's take a spark and make some art. Let's create together. Everyone will have so much fun. And sometimes accidents can lead to great events. Just try your best and things will be just fine. You will
much. This has been fun. Hopefully you go out into the world, and I will stop signing, and and share your own art with
Yes.
each other.
And then and then everyone will be mentioning art.
Yes, exactly. Hopefully.
So who mentioned art? Everyone. Okay.
Exactly. Exactly.